Good evening, friends, and welcome to another late-night edition of Crime Time with DutyRon and Ed Wallace. We are retired New York City police detectives and 9/11 World Trade Center first responders. If you like all things true crime related from the police detective's perspective, you're in the right place. Please hit the subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you get all things DutyRon and my partner, Ed Wallace, when we go live or upload another video. Tonight, I have a special video for you, an interview with Wade Wilson's ex-girlfriend, Melissa Montanez. This is an interview that you guys have been asking me to get. I've been talking with her in the background for several weeks now, and we've been discussing, the platforms, the format, but Mila has a lot to say, and I want to just say this. For those of you who are out there and that were victims of crime in the past, Mila not only testified for the state, she was a crime victim herself. Keep that in the forefront. Mila came close to losing her life, and there is other victims that are out there of Wade Wilson. There's other women that he came into contact with and was violent with. And I want to preface that it is brave enough for her to go and testify before a nationally, internationally televised trial, but it's also brave for her to tell her story. And I'm going to ask her tonight some tough questions. We're going to go back and forth, and we have Coral from Coral and Dexter, the TikTok friend of Mila. She's going to be co-hosting with me, but Mila is going to answer these questions, and the questions are going to be everything that we want to know. What was Wade Wilson like leading up to the day that he murdered 2 women and potentially could have murdered many more? And the day that he violently assaulted her, like, what was he like leading up to this? Were there red flags? Were there signs? So I want to say a special thank you to the Patreon supporters, the channel members, and the moderators. Thank you for being here. You guys are what makes this a great place. And coming from the place where I come from, I'm all about facts. I don't want to blow smoke up anyone's ass. I don't want you guys to get bad information. I asked some of the tougher questions with private phone calls and conversations with Mila, and we agreed that tonight would be an interview that she would clear the air up on particular instances that are floating around out there, and we are going to concentrate on what she did, the good that she did to get justice for our victims, Kristine Melton and Diane Ruiz, because that's what's most important here. But don't forget, Mila's a victim herself. She was assaulted numerous times by Wade Wilson. She was assaulted and hurt by him numerous times. Now, we're not about victim shaming. We're not about re-victimizing people. But let's take a listen to the small trailer that was created by our good friend, Kristen. And I want to say thank you to Kristen. So this is what the show is going to be about, folks.
Where does he go to from there? Well, after he's gone ahead and killed Miss Melton and taken her car and held her face up to utilize her phone, he makes a whole series of telephone calls.
Tonight, I'll be talking live with Mila Montanez, Wade Wilson's ex-girlfriend. We're going to go over that day, October 7th, 2019, and how she escaped becoming a third victim of Wade Wilson.
To Miss Montanez, hey, I need to see you. Where are you at? Calling her repeatedly. Bojan told her, don't bring him here.
He was like, meet me at the spot, because she wanted to get her keys to get her car. So we pull in, and the second she walked up to the car, he started grabbing her. The second, instantly. He didn't realize he wasn't in park, so he slowly gravitated and hit the corner of this white car.
He approached her first in this spree that he did.
When you arrived at Mila's spa, did you see your Hellcat?
No.
Did you see a different car?
Yes. I went to the driver's side window. He wrote it down. I said, where are my keys? Where's my car? He was calm and just saying, get in the car. And it escalated quickly.
Did you agree to get in the car?
No.
And when you would not agree to get in the car, how did he act?
Violent. aggressive, tried to pull me in the car physically, and I resisted, got plank style so that he could not grab me into the vehicle. I'm trying to reason with him, trying to talk to him, but there's nobody behind those eyes anymore. I was trying anything that I could to expand the amount of time that I didn't have to go to his car where I'd probably never be seen again.
This is after he gets a hold of her. Just doesn't want to find out where she is or what she's doing. He tries to pull her into Miss Melton's car. Almost runs her over, getting out, attacking her, and trying to pull her clothes off of her. Beats her repeatedly. She's chased up the stairs. He held her up against a wall with her throat. He punches her in the face until blood spatters all over the place. She was screaming. She was threatening. Fortunately for Miss Montanez, she survived. But if given the chance, she'd have been dead.
Her boyfriend was manhandling her. Everyone saw it. Yes, there was like 7 or 8 women.
This is her friend Amy said he manhandled her, beat her all over the place. So I wanted to play that, ladies and gentlemen, to give you a little bit of a background. And again, this is what I want to highlight here. What's most important is that Mila was really, she went through it with this guy. And on the day he murdered our 2 victims, the day he murdered Kristine Melton and Diane Ruiz, he went right after he murdered Kristine Melton to Mila Spa. And that violence that he committed there, it didn't end there because he went on to murder Diane Ruiz. So without further ado, I want to just introduce our guest. And first and foremost, Mila, thank you for being here. I really have a tremendous amount of respect for you coming from a law enforcement's perspective for what you did and what you continue to do in the aftermath of what Wade Wilson has left behind. You are a true victim, but you're also a true hero. And thank you for your service to our country.
Can you hear me?
And
Perfect. We're good. I'm so happy that you mentioned their names because I wanted to make a trend of that. Every time I speak out, I do want to honor Kristine and Diane for sure, because I think their names are being lost in all this chaos. So I'm really happy that you chose to mention, honor them.
yeah, I mentioned their names continually because all of the shows that I've ever done on this case, I always put the victims and their families first. And you happen to be a victim, so I put you first as well. You're a surviving victim. There's so many questions and there's so much love for you in the chat. But also, as we know, and my co-host is waiting, and she's in the background, and I'm going to add her in a second. Coral and Dexter from TikTok, she knows what I'm about to say. With the love and support that you get, there comes these haters that are just want to find some fault in things that you did, want to find fault in your past. I don't look at that because what I look at is what your actions are in the current day and age. So in 2019, the actions that you took brings us fast forward to 2024 and a successful prosecution of a murderer, Wade Wilson, who told you on numerous occasions that he killed people. And you just were like, he's talking shit. He's just trying to be a tough guy. And, not to pick apart all of the things that were said and things of that nature, that was all part of his persona that he was projecting, not just to you, but to anybody he came into contact with. Correct me if I'm wrong.
You're correct. He said, like his father would even say, Papa Steve, that TikTok knows him by. He's a very good storyteller. He tries to make himself look like this big persona when that's all false, because he's been in and out of jail his whole life, doesn't have a driver's license, never had money. So he lives on fantasy. So yes, that is very true. That, yeah. So
right.
He made up a lot of things.
Right. And Mila, not to, interrupt, because I know what you're saying. I know where you're going. He creates the illusion to people that everything is fine. Until he does, and people are saying this, until he starts doing his drugs. And when he would do drugs, that was when things, in my conversations with you, my takeaway is that's when things would go deeply south. And
before, he's very timid, shy, almost a people pleaser, like I said, a chameleon. Other when he does drugs, then he becomes this whole different person. He acts different. He wants to degrade women, and even through the phone calls from prison with those nasty ass phone calls and stuff. I'm sorry, those nasty phone calls. Like when he would get on drugs, he would start to act a little bit in that persona,
Right.
but not on drugs ever.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that this is what we saw and what we heard in the phone calls from prison, all of the released jail phone calls, nasty, degrading, disrespectful. And we're going to get into a lot of stuff. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I want to introduce Coral and Dexter. She's unbelievable, a great support system for not only you, for Papa Steve, his wife, Melanie, and anybody and everyone who reaches out to her. So without further ado, I want to introduce our good friend, Coral. Thank you for being here.
Hi, guys.
Coral, I was so happy.
I love you, Mila. You look beautiful.
Thank you. So do you.
I was so happy when not only you and Mila both said to me, you guys came to me like, hey, would it be, I was already thinking I was going to ask you even before Mila said to me today, hey, would you mind if Coral came on with us? And I said, I was going to ask her. So you guys read my mind. Coral, you've seen a lot of things as it pertains to, the Wade Wilson, we're not going to get into it tonight, but the Wade Wilson fan club and people coming at you, not just questioning what Mila did, but what everybody did. It doesn't matter who it is. We could be talking about the guy that he went to over in the Keys. We could be talking about all the stops that he made along the way. Everybody was wrong, including Papa Steve, right? But at the end of the day, we have to look at who stepped up. And when the state asked them, hey, we need you to come in and testify, even though they weren't comfortable doing it, they came in and said, I'm going to do what's right for justice. And that's what's important here. And people, you can't overlook that, because they could have helped him. Mila, you could have helped him. When he asked you on that phone call, I need your help, you could have been a bad person and said, I'll get you a bus ticket. I'll harbor you. I'll harbor a fugitive. But that would have made you a criminal. And you didn't do that.
Honestly, when he said he had with the recent phone calls, that is true. He's a drifter. He can only stay in one place long enough because people start to understand his true identity. The gay lover he had in Marathon and moved into the Conky. They were carnivals, carnies, like traveling around with a fair. So he's never probably existed in one place more than 3 months, honestly, because he acts this way, does something wrong, gets in trouble. So yeah, he wanted a bus ticket, but nobody wants to give him a bus ticket, because we started seeing his true character of we're going to give you a bus ticket to escape murdering these ladies.
Yeah, you could say murdering. I mean, listen, this guy went to his own father and asked him to help him, and Papa Steve led him on to believe that I'm going to get you an Uber, I'm going to get you out of there, son. And it took hours for the marshals to get him into custody. But I want to switch up gears, and Coral, please, you got to excuse me for this, because I have a whole bunch of things that I want to get done here. But before you go and start asking some questions, because I want you to jump in anytime you want. But I wanted to ask Mila something that I think a lot of people want to know. I'm going to have on the screen here your testimony in court. And now I know you told me when I asked a lot of detective questions, I was like, hey, did you look back at your testimony in court? And you were like, no, I don't like to look at my testimony. That 4 minutes that was muted on Law and Crime, what can you give the audience a little bit of what the questioning was at that time?
Can you kind of do the before snippet and after snippet, so I can kind of maybe you can rejar my memory?
Sure. Yeah. So for the first 3 or so minutes here, as you're testifying or asking, the district attorney's asking you questions, the audio cut out. So I didn't find it on any other court TV where they had, I think the court had it muted by mistake. So I was gonna, I'll
actually found it somewhere else, but I can remember if I was just given a little bit of a snippet. I
Okay.
think.
So this is where the audio cuts in, but you're talking for a good like minute or two, and we're showing the shop there. There's like
I can't remember. They said, "What is your name?" And I said, "Melissa." I'll come out with you guys. My name is Melissa, like just Melissa Montanez. When they got it wrong on purpose with the extra S, I didn't correct them. Like, I want you to get my name wrong so that you can't keep harassing and Googling me. But they said, okay, my name's Melissa Montanez. Do you have a nickname? It's Mila. Where are you employed? Mila Spa. And something else. I'm trying to like refresh my memory a bit.
We didn't miss much is what I'm asking, because I saw a lot of people in the chat like, what were they talking about for the first minute or two when Mila's
it was nothing important, and I have found it and I will send you a link to it, because other people asked the same question. They said she must have said something so profound.
That's why I asked you. That's why I asked you.
Yeah.
It was just pedigree. They were asking you about your name, your date of birth, where you reside, and so forth. Correct?
Yeah, employment, all that stuff. Yeah.
Okay, let's play this.
Did you tell him that you weren't going to go to this house with him?
Yes, I expressed at least 3 times. He was trying to convince me to go to a house I did not want to go to.
So did you end up going with him to the house? How did he get there?
He stole my vehicle and went.
So did you know he was going to take your vehicle?
No.
How did you find out that your vehicle was?
Saw it leaving the Buddha.
So you were stuck at the Buddha without your car.
And Amy was out there. She was watching it drive away as well. And she said, "It's okay. Come to my house."
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Lady, because I have it written down and I forgot to ask Mila that. Mila, what the fuck? How did you feel when Wade Wilson walked up to that sidebar? I saw you turned away from him, but what was that? I mean, were you like what the fuck is going on here?
For this as well. I told her specifically I refused to look at him, and I could feel in my peripheral and in my energy that he was trying to grab my attention. He was doing extra movements with his hand. When he would come up to the sidebar, he would tap on his leg. He was trying to get me to look at him. The one time that they even made me look in his direction and say, "Can you identify him and give me an item of clothing?" I turned, I pointed, and I felt his eyes on me, but I did not even give him direct eye contact. And it just must have killed him. He was going nuts that I would not give him my attention. So.
It was so awesome, Coral. I know you paid attention to this detail when Wade Wilson was coming up to the sidebars, and I've never seen that before in court. And I'll go to the chat. Has anybody seen a defendant come up when there's a victim? He brutally assaulted you, and we'll get into that if you don't mind later in this. But Wade Wilson basically threw you around like a rag doll, a 6'4", 200 and something pound big guy, and you are all of 120 pounds soaking wet or whatever.
That's probably 110. I'm still 5'2", obviously, but yeah, probably 110.
Small. I'm sorry. So I jacked up your weight. You're going to kill me for that. But that's a big no-no, and that my wife is going to tell me.
Yeah.
How dare you, DutyRon? But yeah, so I mean, I've never seen that before, and let me know in the chat if you've ever seen a defendant on double murder, a double murder defendant unhandcuffed. Okay, he was probably shackled at the feet, but his hands were free. We're going to see this.
He had a bar around him, a shock belt around him,
right.
And he's also complaining like a little bitch in his audio. He goes, this belt is giving my hernia problems. They go, "Well, Mr. Wilson, if it's giving you that many problems, then we're going to have to use the other alternative and handcuff you and shackle you." And he still agreed to do the shock belt.
Yeah, because he didn't want to be handcuffed. He wanted his hands free. And he was putting his hands in his pocket. His hands were out. Let's look at this because it shows the sidebar.
End up going to her house.
Yes.
And did you spend the night at her house?
Yes.
Where did you stay?
On the couch.
Now, did you ever hear again from Wade Wilson?
At roughly 6, my phone starts either texting or calling. Around 8 something, 8:45, I start noticing and I start answering his phone calls.
Okay, so the first calls that he's making or text messages he's making, you don't receive those or talk to him at all?
I was sleeping.
When you
I love that. I love that you just snap right back. No, I was sleeping. I didn't hear his badger.
Well, another way that I could interject a little bit is people don't understand how many times I've been asked this freaking question. So sometimes if I come across a little bit like crude or like just matter of fact, it's like how I've answered this damn conversation how many times. So, and people were like, she sounds coerced. She sounds this. No, I've just had this conversation 500 times. That's why, you know?
Yeah, I think you testified very well. And like I was telling you guys earlier in the day, I've testified at hundreds of trials as a police officer. And in one of the very first times I testified, I was nervous myself. So getting up there, you did a great job. And so did everybody else. Papa Steve, I know he was really nervous. I talked to his wife about it. Very nervous, and he did
that he was gonna have a heart attack. You know, yeah. Like he was not okay.
Yeah, but you all did a great job because the end result was a conviction, and you guys were instrumental in.
And that's another thing, if I can point out, people are like around this town specifically, they said she wanted her 15 minutes of fame. She did this. I was begging, crying not to testify about this. So none of this has to do with any kind of fame. And I still hear comments around even my personal town that that is the case. So I just kind of wanted to put that out there as like a little bit of FU to them. You know what I mean?
I understand. So, I understand fully. All right, I'm gonna let this play.
First spoke with him. Tell the jurors about how that conversation went.
When I first heard his voice, it was, "Where are you? Can I come get you?" I can't really remember, but it was more calm at first.
Okay.
As I started saying, "I want my keys. I want my car. Where are you? I need to get them back." It escalated more into name calling and aggression and intimidation.
Okay. Now, let's go to where it starts to escalate. How are you able to tell that he's starting to escalate?
Raising his voice, calling me names.
What names is he calling you?
Bitch, cunt, whore, all these different names.
And we know from hearing his phone calls from prison, all of the calls that were taken by Freedom of Information Act, he does this on a regular basis. He called the victims bitches. This is a vile human being. And the way he talked to you, Mila, it seems like this is across the board how he talks to women and probably his boyfriend.
A story about how this came about. Right before I went on and had to say this, they said, "What names was he calling you?" And I would say the names back in the witness room or however it's called. And I said these names. She goes, "You have to say those." And I go, "I can say them on stand." She said something so heartbreaking. She goes, "Diane Ruiz and Kristine Melton do not have a voice anymore. If you do not say these names, nobody can imagine their last moments with him. If you're giving them a voice right now."
Exactly.
You need to say those names. You need to say it. It's important, Sarah Miller was amazing, the state's attorney.
I gotta say, I was so impressed with Sarah Miller, the way she presented the case, and her co-counsel there, the assistant district attorney, Andreas. They did a fantastic job. I got their names written down here. If you saw my studio, it's literally plastered with notes about this trial. 2 counts of first-degree murder, a count of burglary of the home of Fannie Million, grand theft of an auto. That's your auto, Kristine.
That was Kristine's car.
Kristine Melton's. Right. I have it in parentheses. Grand theft of auto, Kristine Melton. My bad. battery on you, Melissa Montanez, his girlfriend at the time, and petty larceny or petty theft property of Fanny, taking stuff out of that house. Here's where he comes up, and this is unbelievable. And then Coral, I want to go to you because I feel like we're not hearing enough from you. And I know you got a lot to say.
And just, I can't remember the threats per se, but it was very intimidating.
Did he appear to sound angry?
Very angry.
Did you feel scared at this point? Now, the phone number that Judge, may I approach?
This is where it happens, folks. I'm going full screen.
For the record, to show a defense counsel with the previously marked the State's Exhibit 20.
Mila, now you're witnessing them walking up here. You had to have seen this happening right in front of your eyes.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Also, my husband and Amy were sitting in the, the victim side, obviously. And when things got too, like the energy, I would just focus on them because, like you said, nobody else have ever seen somebody of this magnitude be able to freaking approach a witness.
Right.
I was scared to death. I was.
Yeah. I was mortified when I saw this.
I'm going to show you State's Exhibit 20, and I just ask if you look at it and tell me if you recognize that phone number.
That is my phone number.
Okay, and is that the phone number that he was calling you and texting you?
Yes.
And at this time, the state would move 20 into evidence.
Here we go. This is where it happens. They question something here, and they have a sidebar, and they all go up. And you can see his hands are free and clear here. There's no the shackles on his legs, but here they go.
You approach.
Now, when you look at this, you'd think the defendant's going to sit at the table. They allowed him to go up here, like we're talking about, and this was mortifying. Like I see right away, you turn this way, you turn away from him, and you said you were focusing on your husband and Amy, right?
Up so much. I felt like I was gonna pass out. I was like trying everything that I could do to sell. It was so bad. I can't even describe to you.
Yeah, and for everybody, it's difficult to get up there and give testimony. You could hear it in your voice, but you found the strength from within, and this is part of this is a part of justice, and this is a part of your strength that you should be proud of. Not only were you a victim, but you came forward for justice, and that's important. Coral, I got to go to you because I know you got a lot to say. You've had Mila on an interview with you a long time ago. She was vulnerable. She was upset. She was crying. Papa Steve came on. I was going to play it, but I don't want to get Mila upset. That's the last thing I want to do.
No, do not worry about my feelings ever. I mean, if you want to do whatever.
I'm always thinking of you, Mila, but I wanted to open it up for Coral to, maybe just address some of the things that, you want to say as it pertains to Mila and what she did in this case.
I mean, she knows all well. Mila and I have had plenty of conversations. I think she's an amazing human. I believe that she's going through her own battles. PTSD is a son of a bitch, especially when you have all this trauma. She's kind of been accustomed to kind of doing that. And so it took a while for me to convince her, hey, girl, you're a victim. Stop sitting here and thinking that you're not, because you are. And that was the hardest part, is to watch the people that shit on her on a daily basis. And she is a victim. They wouldn't have been able to hold Wade if it wasn't for her making sure that they held him. Because at that time, they're still investigating. They don't have enough to hold him. They're holding him based on what happened to her. And that's critical. So people aren't realizing this girl is a damn hero and she's a victim. And that's what I've been advocating for her the whole time. And I wanted her, if you guys saw me in my red bathrobe, everybody loves the bathrobe. And I was all about let's call her, let me come to me and let me help you, because my team rides, we rally and we support victims, and we're there for anybody going through this. And a lot of us as victims don't recognize that the trauma. We don't see it on our own self. Someone's like, hey girl, you have some serious stuff. And she's not doing that either. She's never once put herself in that shoe of hey, I am. And it was critical. And I told her too, that we had a woman that reached out to me personally, gave me a book long story and said, can you please let Mila know that she saved my life? I literally picked my 2 kids up from an abusive situation and went into a shelter. And if it wasn't for her, I might not be here. And if she had the strength, I can do it too. And that's what's huge, is I want her to be able to do that for somebody else.
That is powerful. Mila, I mean, I don't know if you were aware of that, but you may have been aware of it.
Me that earlier, and it gave me chills, because also I told Coral that even watching things back, the more things I find out that I didn't even know, I should not be here. He even came to the spa. Had I chose to spend the night here, I would have been murdered. Had I gave him Amy's address, I should have been murdered. Had he not been weak from killing poor Kristine, I wouldn't be here, because he was battle wounds and stuff. So for some reason, God has me here, and like Coral said, I have to make a difference. I have to.
And I feel that you really have. And I took myself off screen so the both of you were on. But Coral, that was powerful. And that brings me to my next point of what I want to say here, is that just talking about Mila's experience. And again, I'm not discounting other women, because we know there's many other women that Wade Wilson victimized and was brutal with and assaulted and so forth. But we are talking about what Mila's experience is here tonight. Just speaking about that, you can touch just one person or more, then it's a win, because you're helping other people through your situation that you had with Wade Wilson. And that's a positive thing, you know. And you can't put a price tag on that, because saving a human life is powerful. Saving a family, saving someone's children from domestic violence. And again, I want to put on the screen here, I have the domestic violence hotline. It's going to scroll at the bottom as we speak about this. There it is, the National Domestic Violence Hotline, 1-800-799-SAFE, 799-7233. I have taken many orders of protections out of women's pockets when their lifeless bodies lay inside their apartments or their location where I had to respond to. Orders of protection is just one layer of protection. And as a New York City police officer, I've experienced that firsthand with my own eyes. And that's why this is such a serious and important conversation. And I've been begging Mila and Coral and I have been talking about this, how important this is to talk about this, because Mila, you can help save other people's lives. You not only saved your own, you can help save others. And I think that's a passion that you have.
Should be something to be said too, is I had a protection notice against him. He convinced me to he called me from jail. He had a no contact order. He begged me from jail to take it down, and I fucking did. And a piece of paper is not going to stop him from killing me. So like you said, you're taking them from dead women's bodies. There needs to be something different. And even if it means, like Coral said, she picked up her 2 kids, she had a small moment to get out. Don't go file I can't say don't go file a restraining order, but what's that going to fucking do for you? Like you just said, it didn't work for me. So
yeah, 100%. And I can't, there's no denying it. I've seen it one too many times, and I don't even like to talk about it, but I think it's important that women and men, but it happens to women more than it happens to men, domestic violence and getting, going through the court system and going through the right, doing the right steps with the police and the district attorney's office. That's one step. There needs to be more education. And that's why this domestic violence hotline, they also cater to ways you could safely get out of these things. And it's not a guarantee, but it educates some folks. And many women they are so beat down mentally by these monsters that are doing this to them that sometimes they don't even feel like they can do it. They're helpless, is what I'm trying to say.
Well, your other avenue is to go to a shelter, and that's not very nice. And then they have no resources, they have no money and stuff like that. So, I mean, everybody's in their own situation. So, but like even Coral was saying, like, I have money, I have a business, and I still fell victim. So it's not just people that are in these situations. There's people in my shoes too. I was just stupid. That's all. So
It's not about
Well,
stupid. Coral,
try talking about like, because this is what I want people to understand. They need to understand how it was, how he sucked you in. Because you explained to me he opened car doors for you. He did everything. He wined and dined. He made you feel like you were the most important person in the world. So it wasn't like he just walked in like, come on, bitch, let's go. Like he literally spoiled you with all that love to where you got hooked.
yeah, you
yes, he was the most romantic person I've ever met. Like I said, I would be walking down the stairs. He'd grab my hand and make sure I got down the stairs safely. He'd be walking up the stairs and he'd put his hand behind my his back. Every car door, every door open. I would try to do something like take out the trash. He goes, and in a sweet, violent way, in a masculine way, put that down right now. I've got this trash for you. And like he was sweet.
I was hoping that wasn't going to happen, but it looks like
Oh, she froze.
yeah, but she'll come back. Hopefully she comes back. That's what I was worried about with the phone not being plugged in. Maybe the battery died or whatever. But let's continue the conversation. I'm going to put her just down in the bottom here. I'll keep monitoring if she comes back. Coral, I know that you've been so close with Mila. You've been mentoring her as a female, a source of just giving her. You're just such a good friend, but you're giving her an opportunity to vent to you and talk with you about her situation, about her thoughts and her issues. She's very concerned too about people coming at her for for the things that she did. And Mila, I see you back. Hi, Mila, but no audio. Yikes. She's back, but we can't hear her.
You can't hear her.
Yeah. This is the problem that we were working out, folks. This is why we were a little late. We were having problems with audio. So, so we can't hear you. So maybe I'll kick you out and you'll try to come back in with the link. So we'll try that. Let's do that. God damn. Technology sucks, but it is what it is.
Yeah, she's not very she's like she never came around to any of these social media platforms until people were just crapping on her so much. So she just downloaded TikTok, went right after right before the sentencing time. So she's not used that before. So this is a new thing for her.
Right. I got you. I was gonna play the body cam footage of when the police came up because there was some stuff that was talked about. Let's see if Mila, she's come back. She's a trooper. Hi, Mila.
Can you hear me?
Yes, now you're back.
Okay.
Thank goodness.
I have to move around sometimes.
All
This
right,
is Mila's father,
right,
by the way.
where you are right now is great, and the Mila spa looks beautiful. Let me put you full screen. Do that 360 again, Mila. I want to see the Mila spa.
All right, we have this Arabian theme right here. Here's our couches. We have a peacock theme.
Nice.
That kind of stuff. So everybody's kind of always interested because now it's famous, of course. Got our service rooms. So, I mean, we don't have ladies chained anywhere. There's no beds.
This is not a brothel. This is not a brothel. You're a full service spa, and I have your website up right now, and it says from luxurious rituals to body massages and indulging in facials, discover a unique experience in pampering and healing. And I want to put that in here. This is your website. There's so many different services that that you can get here. Chemical peels, massages, day spa packages, body wraps, all kinds of things. Cupping therapy.
Yeah, we do so many different things that's why when like people were saying that I was a rub and tug kind of place, it's like we're a medical spa. I was just telling Coral earlier, one of our biggest services is a VI chemical peel. People pay $250 for 20 minutes just to have that done. Like This is not a cheap place. It's not. We're not like on the verge of like Naples. Well, you guys are not from here, so Fort Myers we have to be competitive. But no, I mean we're a high class spa for Fort Myers. Yes.
Yeah, and it looks like it's full service here. When it comes to brow lamination and tinting, teeth whitening. I didn't even know all of this stuff, but I mean, it looks like a full service spa, waxing and dermaplanting. I don't know anything about that, but
Yeah.
I
Like I was saying, we're not racist here or anything, but we have it's very well known in Florida with the Asian spas that have bars on their windows and that kind of stuff. Like people are comparing me to that, and it's just not fair.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, and that's another thing that I want to talk about is not only are people talking falsehoods about your business because they're just haters. They're going into things like saying you're not the sole owner of Mila Spa, and I wanted to clear the air. Mila is the sole owner of this spa, and I'll let you expand on that if you want to talk about that.
That's an easy look up. Google Mila Spa LLC. Everything on there is strictly Mila Montanez as the president, all that stuff. There's no other name on that. And I was just informed today that that somebody said that Glenn is the owner of my spa. And I was speaking to Crowell today, and she said maybe I should share this story with you. When I was dating Tommy, a long time ago, we were together 6 years. I opened him an air conditioning company. I was already a massage therapist working at a local spa, and I was going through cosmetology school. And when I was in school, he kept kind of mentioning, oh, listen, you're going to be able to do it all. Cosmetology, massage, because cosmetology is a big umbrella. It's hair, nails, skin care, body wraps, everything. So he said, you and yourself you can do everything. And he kept mentioning the name Mila Spa and stuff. And, I'm not that person. Like, I'm kind of shy and humble. So I kept going, no, we should name it something else. But when push came to shove, I was just like, I couldn't come up with a better name, named it Mila Spa. And Tommy was the reason that he goes, you can own your own business and stuff. I didn't even know Glenn at this time. Glenn was a customer later, and I was also speaking to Carl about that. My customers sometimes become family. 75% of our customers are either couples massages in the same room or little old ladies and stuff like that. So our clientele even speaks for itself. Like, I don't know how I'm getting this name of Rub and Tag at all, because our clientele speaks for itself. And these people are investigating, like I said, every single time something happens that Wade thinks he's going to implicate me on. By the way, the reason he keeps doing that is I set him up with media. He wants to hurt me for sure.
Right.
Boom. Also,
I mean, we've all heard the phone calls from prison where you set him up with the media. He even asks, "What's the noise in the background?" And you said, "Oh, the media is outside."
Yeah.
They're all like. So that's. Listen, that was all part of justice being served. If you were like some of these kiosk girls that are telling him that they love him and that they want to be married and have his babies and all kinds of craziness that's going on, and I don't even want to get into that, but what I'm saying is you didn't go that path with him. You might have had maybe one call where he was sucking you in a little bit and you had a vulnerable moment.
Oh, I can speak out about that. I was setting him up for the media. Yes, I did do that. I was pissed off at him finding out that he did this. I wanted every single detail, not only from my closure, but I had to know. But also, those girls deserved that too, and I was the only person that probably could have coerced it out of him more than anybody, any detective, anything. I
Right.
was the one that could have got that information. And yes, I did hang on a little long. He did catch me in a weak moment, like when I'm sad, lonely, and depressed. And yes, I did have that embarrassing phone call where I cried, and those were true emotions as well. But
you didn't have
I was
multiple calls.
sad.
You didn't have multiple calls. You had that one moment of vulnerability, and you weren't kiosking calling him like, "Hey baby, I'll call you back. I'll call you back." Like what we were hearing from these women, you moved on. Your life is full of trials and tribulations, Mila. And I say this to everybody and anybody. We all make mistakes in our lives, whether it's choices of who we're with, whether it's choices of who we become business partners with, whether it's choices of jobs that we take on, lending friends and people money, and we get into. It's all about learning from your mistakes, and I believe that you did learn from your mistakes as it pertains to Wade Wilson. And that brings me to what I want to also ask you, Mila. Many people in the chat, and we're going to go to the chat in 5 minutes if you don't mind. Would you mind taking some questions? I'll hashtag Mila. You could put your questions in the chat. Don't do it now, but the hashtag Mila will make it simple, MILA. But Mila, you met Wade Wilson. We want to just go over this one more time. What was he like? Again, Coral said he was love bombing you, opening doors. But if he wasn't working, how was he able to like wine and dine you and win you over? Like, what was it?
I was drinking when I was on that live with Coral. So it wasn't per se wine and dining. It was wine and dining me with my own money.
Let's clear that up.
He would pull out the chair for me, put the napkin in my lap. Are you okay, honey? Here's a rose from the table. And he would be he
a rose from the table. He didn't buy the rose.
No, it came from the table. So when I was a little loose speaking, but he was very romantic, and no, he never made money. And I'm not quite sure how much of the history of you know about this, and I'm going to mention some names I probably shouldn't right now, but it's still the truth. When he was with Chris, that homosexual relationship he had in the Keys, they had found Eric from Deadliest Catch. He's on that show multiple times. He owns a marina / hotel / fueling station. They have jet skis and paddle boards and all this stuff. And so they roomed there together with Tommy, and that's how he met Tommy. He was dating Chris at the time. Him and Chris kept it on the down low because they were running. They had fun with women. Yeah, I said the wrong thing. Running, you know what I'm saying? Like, no, they would like. Wade was attractive, and it's not hard if you go out to Wade with a bar that a lot of ladies will come back and have fun with you. They had a bar right there at his own hotel. They're gonna do that. So,
did you know that he liked men as well when you dated him?
I told Coral, if she said, "Did you know that before?" And I said, "Game changer," because I'm not homophobic. I'm not like that, but like just in my I don't know how to express this, but that makes me turned off that I would be with a man that would be with another man. I'm just not into that kind of thing. And I love gay people. I have people that work here that have that lifestyle and stuff. But to me, I can't imagine dating a man that would put his thing in another man's thing.
You know? And it seems like that's his preference, as we hear from our German friend, the shit stirrer, so to speak. I'll have to say.
Well, I would always say I will go a little personal here. Like, you know, he liked to do exploratory things, sex and stuff like that, but it was never ever like that. It was just, you know, normal stuff. And I think that because now the more that I'm hearing, because other people are now speaking up that they had similar issues with him as well, where he would be degrading like that. But he never acted that with me because I don't know. I don't think he maybe felt comfortable. And like I said, he only treats people the way that he knows exactly the boundaries he can take with people, and he never tried that with me.
Right. I want to just go to the chat now because we're at the 49-minute mark. So I want to try to keep this about an hour and 15. Coral, while I'm looking at the chat, do you have anything that maybe you want to get out with you and Mila?
Yeah, there was There's a lot, because you know what I did is I pulled together a lot of the major consensus of what people ask. So I definitely wanted you to touch on how you met Glenn and the situation with the Hellcat, because I feel people misconstrue this situation, and I feel like that should be set straight.
Yes. Okay. So, okay, how do I begin? I, of course, started the business with Tommy. As time progressed, I started having customers. They started becoming family, like family type members with me, because they'd get on the table. They thought it was like almost a psychology session. People would tell me every little thing about their life, because they would start opening up to me, just like you do with your hairdresser or your nail tech or something. So we would start to formulate a real relationship and stuff. So Glenn became one of my friends, and he also went to dinner all the time with Tommy and I and stuff. He became a friend of all. He went on our boat. He went on Tommy and I's boat, went fishing with Tommy. It's not anything weird. He became one of our friends. I had an incident where after me and Tommy separated, I fell in love with this guy, moved to Texas, came back after that amount of time, left everything that I owned, my car, everything. So when I got back into town, I started getting a rental car, and then I started living with Glenn. Like, I had a few different offers right then of where to live, but I had just gone back into town, and I kind of wanted to, not have any responsibilities. So Glenn was noticing, I can't remember how much I was spending on a rental car each week, because I didn't have good credit at the time. But Glenn said, you're spending a lot of money on this rental car. Do you mind if I take you and I'll put my credit down and we'll buy a car? And here's a weird story. But it was kind of my FU car to Tommy, because that was his dream car. So Tommy and I spent a lot of money on Tommy. So when I finally had a choice of what car I wanted, I go, I want a Hellcat. You know what I mean? Like, it was like an FU to him. So when I saw the Hellcat out there, it's my favorite color, silver bullet gray, $80,000. I know that sounds expensive, but I put my 30 grand down. It was only $1,000 a month with $250 insurance. So to the money that I make, that's not too crazy for what I could afford. And he helped me out credit wise. It was registered in his name, but I took care of all the payments, and all the responsibilities and the insurance, of course. So
he wasn't a sugar
Glenn
daddy.
is
He
not
wasn't
an
a sugar daddy.
huh?
He was not a sugar daddy then.
Oh no, he was not a sugar daddy. I'm actually still friends with him today, and he's friends with Lorenzo. And that's another thing. I'm going through a divorce. It's not going to be too messy, but no, Glenn has always just been a really good friend to me, and he's always had different girlfriends who I'm also friends with. So I know maybe for some people that might be a little hard to understand, but not really. If you ask my friends, like, I'm once you get to know me, I'm kind of a sold deal, like, people trust me with anything, it's like I wouldn't kill a fly. So
Understood. Somebody asked another question, and thank you for being so open and honest. Somebody asked a question in the chat, and I lost it because the chat is flying. We're close to 3,800 people in here at one point. So a lot of people are here. A lot of people are supportive, and they're supporting you. Somebody asked, did you feel threatened at any other time while you were with Wade, other than these two incidents during that 5 or 6 month period? I know that you're not sure of the exact time or how long you guys were together, but around 5 to 6 months. Any other times where you felt your life or you were in a dangerous and precarious position with Wade Wilson, other than the fateful day on October 7th and the previous time when he got arrested?
Okay, so we're talking about the first time that I put him in jail for that, and the last time, yes. I will be open with you guys. Yeah, embarrassingly enough, there was a few other instances where, like, this one time I was on the phone with a customer. He did not like me to have male customers. And I don't know what ticked him off, but I was laying there in bed on the phone trying to make this appointment, and all of a sudden his eyes did that change thing again, grabbed me by my hair, started slamming my head up against the bedpost. We were staying in this house before he got arrested the first time we had a house, and our roommate, I'm not going to say her name, but she started banging on the door, so he started hearing. He threw me in the shower and he turned on the water, I guess for noise distraction, and started beating me dead. And after he beat me, and I guess, I don't know exactly why he stopped. I can't really remember, but I laid on the shower for a second. He sat on the toilet, and he had that like intimidating style eyes where I knew I was not even going to try to get up. I wasn't going to test him. I probably stayed there for, time is weird in these situations. It feels like forever. So I'm going to say around an hour. And yeah, I'm embarrassed to say this, but like Coral said, I think it's important that I speak the truth and that I come out and say, and I always made excuses for him. Well, I said the wrong thing, or he was on this drug or that drug or this or that. So yeah, I mean, there were other instances, to bigger or lesser degrees. There were other instances. Yeah.
But like also, Mila, I wanted to touch on the fact that this has kind of been like Wade wasn't the first person that you've been with. You've always kind of like fell into that trap of somebody taking advantage of you or being abusive. So this is like a kind of a trend, is like not realizing it and always just being like, they love me, and making some sort of excuse of why they did what they did. So to you, it felt kind of like a normal thing.
Yeah, I opened up about that to you earlier. I was looking for a phone charger. I'm kind of getting kind of dead here. I don't know if I have too many apps up, but in Hawaii, I was dating a pro surfer boyfriend who also I had to go to a grand jury trial because he held us all at gunpoint. He got kidnapping charges, all this. 3 shots were fired out, and I had to be in the room awaiting this if I needed to speak or not. Thank God they didn't need me. They had enough evidence. But a cop came up to me and grabbed my arm and said, "Do you?" I can't remember his exact words, but his heart was on his sleeve and his eyes. "You are so lucky that you are alive." And I said something really stupid. I go, "Oh no, he wasn't trying to kill me. He was just trying to scare us. He just wanted us money. Like it was a gambling debt kind of thing. They were gambling that night." And that guy looked at me with fear in his eyes and said, "Do you know how many girls that are dead right now that said the same thing?" Oh no, he didn't mean anything. He was just trying to scare me. Like that opened my
He's right.
eyes to the
He's
full
right.
amount.
Yeah, he's right. Hey, before we lose you, I know that maybe the battery might be going dead on that and you don't have the charger for it. There's questions about Wade Wilson made comments about, or people made comments about sexually transmitted diseases and so forth. I don't know. Okay, I don't know if you want to go there, but I know
can go
that
there. It's
if
like
you don't
that
want
was
to,
another
then
thing.
I don't want to be disrespectful or anything. So
No, I would totally go there because I will openly say the fact that I know who you're speaking of, and I don't want to be rude to her. Don't. But I feel that people are also feeling the same way that I'm feeling because there's several statements that are not true. She's trying to say he has there's nothing small in that man. Also the 2 STDs, if she happened to get them, I did not. So I kind of believe that's not true. And I was kind of on reservations of that because she's coming across spiteful. And even when people ask me the hard questions, do you think he's racist? Do you think he's this? I don't throw him under the bus. I say, no, I honestly do not think he's racist and all that stuff. And I always want even if I'm speaking good about him, I still want it to be the truth. And,
Right.
I don't, you know.
I think that's more important to get the truth out there. So essentially, what you're saying is you're addressing these to the best of your ability, and I appreciate and respect that. So according to you, Mila, Wagekiss Wilson does not have a small penis.
Yeah.
I
I was kind of open on that drunk choral night. He was very good on bad, and it was not small, and he knew what he was doing.
Mila, we kind of figured that because most women don't stay with somebody like that unless there's more to offer. He didn't have a job, he didn't have a driver's license. I'm like, there's got to be only one good thing this guy was good for, because there's no other fucking logical way she'd still be with him.
Right, exactly. Ladies, I'm married 34 years, and my wife is beautiful, so she gets to hang around. So we can figure out the rest. But
hey, Mila, I have a question for you. There's a question that I thought was really good, right? What advice can you give to others who are scared to speak or leave a domestic situation?
I think things need to change in order to make that happen, because every time that I've ever, like you now know, not only have I went through a few times with Wade, I've went through a few times before this as well, in very similar to almost the extreme situations, unfortunately, where I am treated and harassed and interrogated. And like I was telling you before, the first time he beat me up, my friends called the cops on him. They came out, and I had Kat Von D makeup on, which is very good about covering bruises and tattoos or whatever you got to cover. I had my makeup on, and then I went to remove it to show them that I, in fact, was covered in bruises. And then when I came out, they accused me of putting on blush or whatever to make it look like I had bruises. I had to wash my face in front of them to show them, in actuality, I had bruises. They put me through the ringer just to say my boyfriend beat me up. And I don't know how to answer that question quite yet, because thank God my husband doesn't beat me, but I don't know if I would be able to speak up. They make it so hard, honestly.
Yeah. Well, it's good advice coming from someone who's been through it. And listen, there's no two situations that are exactly the same. And I don't think that there's one solid answer to that question, because, like I said, no two situations are the same, because men are violent in their own different ways at their own different times. And there's triggers that get them going. And as you said, Mila, his was, if he was back was against the wall, he didn't have money, somebody questioned him or somebody came at him. Because as we saw, when the cops were nice to him and that female officer that was interrogating him, he was almost having a date with her. And I hate to bring this up here, but he was courting that female officer, that detective, and she was in tune to it, and she actually used her body as a way to get him in.
Push her breasts together,
pushing her boobs up and leaning forward. Those were all calculated.
Vulnerability. She said, "I'm hungry and cold," trying to, like,
those were ways for her to get out. There were ways for her to get the information out of him. So he was being used by her because she was a professional interview and interrogator. He is a professional, manipulator. He's a narcissist. He's a control freak. He is used to getting his way. He said to the male officers in that room, "I'm going to get my handcuffs taken off. Watch me go to work." I don't know if anybody caught on to that.
That's funny. I didn't hear that, but I believe you. He is the extreme version of narcissistic person.
Mm-hmm. Mila, also another major question, because I want to clear this portion up. So Tommy and you had been friends for years, and Tommy was the one that encouraged you to open up the spa, and so he was actually there just to help you and give you that positive, hey, don't go over here and just work somewhere, open your own shop. So you opened it small, and then you evolved as you got bigger. But a lot of people are asking how Tommy treated you, because you guys separated but are still friends. Was he abusive towards you?
We lost her.
No. Okay, can you hear me now?
Oh, there she is.
I have to keep moving around.
Stay right there. You're good.
Did you hear my question?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we
Yes.
can hear you. Can you hear us? Can you hear us?
Can you hear? She might have lost us. Yikes. I'm going to just kick her. I did this last time and she came back. That was a great question. And I think people want answers to it. When she's coming back, while she's on her way back, I want to just go to some of the super chats and some of the people who are supporting. Linda, thank you for becoming a YouTube member. Jenny Dickman, thank you for becoming a member. Dawn Magus, thank you for becoming a member. Fran 911 became a new member. Jeff Litweiler, our good friend, says, good evening, $5 super chat. Just back from Yellowstone National Park, 40th wedding anniversary. God bless you. And Jeff, our good friend, is also too a victim of sexual assault from a young age, and he was out and open and talking about that. So Jeff, thank you for being strong. Thank you for being a part of this community. We love you and we support you. Heather, member for 5 months, she says, nice to see everyone. Thank you, Ron, Mila, and Coral. I'm sure that she just forgot to write that in there, but thank you, Coral. Els B sends in $2 super chat and says, much love and good vibes sent to Mila. Thank you. And Coral, as we were talking today, we were worried about, some, nasty comments and people coming in. There was an overwhelming majority of very supportive comments during this 1 hour live stream. I was just so impressed with not just my community, but you sent your community over. And Jumpsuit Pablo shared the video onto his community. A lot of our followers are kind of similar. We run around in the same crew and groups. So kudos to all the live chatters, the new people who are here for the first time. If you're not following Coral, do I have permission to show your TikTok on here?
Yeah, you sure can. I will be branching out to YouTube with your help too, because you're going to help guide me, but I will be doing that as well because I'm tired of staying unalived.
That's bullshit. Tess, thank you for becoming a member. Sonny, thank you for the super chat. I thought we got rid of that one. Hold on. Let me take care of that. Delete. You take your free Wade Wilson bullshit somewhere else and I'll refund you that money. You can take it and stuff it up your ass. Danny, thank you so much for being a friend and a supporter. $20 super chat. She says, DutyRon and Coral, thank you for standing up for Mila and the victims. Mila, we love you and we stand with you always. Proud of you with Purple Heart. Danny, that was such a nice comment there. Thank you for that. Coral's taking care of business. She's got a household and it's a Saturday night. JK, thank you for the love. $10 super chat. Love you, Mila. You're so strong. So Mila tried to come back, but I don't know what happened. Now she's gone again. Hopefully she comes back. $4.99 super chat. There's nothing better than seeing a strong, beautiful woman take back her story. So proud of you, Mila. Onward and upward with a heart and some love. It's an awesome comment. Tess Mac, thank you. I love when women support women, and I hate when women.
That's a big, huge thing for me. You got to be, if you're a woman that does not, that's what bothers me with the Wade supporting, the Wade wives in general, is if you could sit there on a side, okay, just even if you think that he was set up or whatever, aside from the murders that happened over here, he had a history of hurting women, raping women, being aggressive towards women. We saw, I want Mila to be able to share the pictures of what he physically did to her, because if people saw, they would realize what a monster this guy was and still is. And these women sign up to go do this. And it's like, okay, for you to sit here and say, hey, I'm here for the victims. No, the hell you're not. No. If you're here for the victims, then you're saying that what happened to the women prior is like that. It doesn't matter. It matters. No one should ever support anybody that does that to women.
Absolutely. And that gets here's one of my favorite buttons I use. That gets a,
oh, hell no.
It gets a double hell no.
Oh, hell no.
So I want to say thank you to, we're almost towards the end of the support here. Art for Life Forensic Artists sent 10 gifted memberships. So in other words, she sent 10 free memberships out to all the new people that are not paid members. So that gives you access to our Discord group and all of the paid membership perks of DutyRon. So thank you for doing that. Curious Kiwi sends in some New Zealand cash. She says, Mila, your strength is an inspiration to all women. XX. And I hope you're healing from the same surgery that I had, my shoulder rotator cuff. So she had it just a couple of weeks ago, maybe 6 weeks ago. I hope you're curious Kiwi. I hope you're healing up. We love you. We respect you. And the food looks great that you're posting on Facebook. Keep up the good work. Your husband's doing a hell of a job. Bang up job to him. Tell him to put another prawn on the Barbie. Bree, thank you for the super chat, $5. I'm curious. Has her business increased after this nightmare? I hope so. Would have been a great question to ask her. I hope she comes back. Maybe you can hit her up on the text message if you can. Oh, wait, you're on your phone. Natalie May, thank you for becoming a new member. Thank you for being a member for 35 months. Rose B, thank you. DutyRon, thank you. Thank you for your support. I just have to get to all of these. Jamie, thank you for being a member for 23 months. DutyRon, you're the best. No, you are. You're the best. Jivin, $5. We love you, Mila. And thank you, DutyRon, and also Coral, obviously. Mila, thank you from Heather, $2. You deserve happiness and peace. Absolutely. She's a hero. Mila helped put the nail in the coffin of Wade Wilson. I hate to say it like that, but she put his ass in jail, in prison. She got him convicted with her testimony. And it wasn't just her solely, but she was part of the team of the prosecution. So kudos to her. Kasi, thank you for the Canadian 279. I appreciate your support. Anything helps here. Sophie, thank you for becoming a member. Thank you, Bridget. Holy crap, a lot of new members. Vid Inquiries, thank you for being a new member. Insomniac 49. Many people here are insomniacs. If you're an insomniac, let me know in the chat by saying me. She's a member 29 months. She says, thank you, Mila, for using your voice, and thank you, DutyRon and Coral, for giving her a platform to speak. Amen. Natalie, thank you. I'm sorry, I'm botching up your name. She's throwing her pocketbook and her purse at us. Another Canadian 279. And this is the last one. Dasha, thank you for becoming a new member. Oh, shit. Danny Marie, thank you for becoming a new member. I should never say, oh, shit, to that, but thank you, guys. 43 members that supported during this live stream. Let's show your TikTok. So you got 15,000, almost 16,000 followers, and you go live a lot. You have reposts, you got videos. This is the one that got me, though. This video with Papa Steve and with Mila, she talks about suicide in this video. And she says she tried since this incident to kill herself 3 times. And Mila and I spoke about this, and she said it was okay to talk about it because I asked her respectfully. I said, can I mention this? And she said, oh, yeah, I'm an open book. I'll talk about it. So I wish she was here to talk about it. But when she started talking to you about this, I know Papa Steve got a little uncomfortable and kind of exit stage right, left the girls alone. But that to me was so moving that she said that. And I want to play it if it's okay with you. This is long.
No, this one was huge. And just to fill in a little backstory, after when she was at her most critical moment and she was crying and she was at this weak spot and she just told us that she tried to kill herself 3 times, her phone died. So every one of us was like, oh my God, is she okay? We were freaking out. And I'm like, oh, what a terrible time for her phone to die. It was definitely like super stressful, but she definitely felt better after, and we were able to meet up after.
Oh, thank God. Thank God. So here's the interview.
Hi, Steve. It's Mila. I'm so sorry about what you're going through. Okay. I send my whole heart to you. Okay.
I appreciate that. And I'm sorry what you're going through. Listen, I just wanted to say something and then I'm going to get out of the way. I'm going to get off here. But, listen.
For those of you who don't know who this is Papa Steve, Wade Wilson's biological father. Am I saying it right, Steve Testaseca? Is that right? Mm-hmm. Right? Okay, good. So this is Papa Steve talking to Mila. Probably it seemed like for almost like the first time on a live stream like this. And Steve's not a tech guy either. So I'll let the rest of this play. I just wanted to let everybody know who's talking here.
Fuck these people. These people, they're like going through. Listen, I just wanted to say something and then I'm going to get out of the way. I'm going to get off here. But, listen, Fuck these people. These people, they're, like I said yesterday, where have they been the last 5 years? While everybody that's been kind of caught up in this shit has been having to dread the day that court happens, has been having to dread dealing with the shit. And now all these fuckers, because their little panties got wet, they want to fucking, you know, bash people, talk shit about people, try to ruin people's businesses. And I'm telling you, you cannot let that shit get to you, because that's what they want. They want to see you on here panicking. They want to see you upset. They want to see you angry. And I would not give an ounce of that to these people, because they obviously are struggling with their thinking process right now.
Well, I that was my first approach, because I do have a support team around me that said, stay silent, don't give into it, don't do this. But it gets torturous to stay silent. I want to fucking say something, you know? It's calling my business. I have people, I'm afraid to go into my spa. I'm afraid to go to work. This is getting bad.
I understand, but listen, I fully understand that. I know you're a lot closer to the situation than I am, and you have to pay attention to everything, your surroundings, 100%. But I don't personally deal with any of these people. Like I've said in the past, I don't care what you spend your money on, what you support. That's your business. I don't give a shit. But you know, these people, I think in their mind, they feel like to prove their point, they want to beat people, use people of all kinds of shit. And I promise you, Mila, as you know, in the long run, they will one by one fall off, because what they think they know as the truth, they have no clue. So I know it's hard, but you just have to just do what you're doing. I didn't say shit for 5 years, but there were some things being said that really pissed me off. And I feel like I had to say something. So you're doing the right thing. You're doing what's best for you. And sometimes talking about it does help, you know?
Well, my thing is, I know these fangirls. I could literally show them a video of him killing them, and they will say, oh, that's not him. So I'm like, if I say something, it still doesn't matter. If I don't say something, it still doesn't matter. I can't win. Like, nothing I do can work.
But you know what though? The sentencing is next week, right? And it's gonna end up, they're gonna be fighting in the background, but it's gonna die down again, except for the calls. The calls will keep coming out. So anybody who was caught up in the kiosk, we're gonna hear about those forever. And then it's it. You just got, what you have to do though is you have to surround yourself by positive people that are gonna positively influence you, which I promise. If you haven't been in my rooms, we keep it. I got everybody. I got Kristen up in here. Rose comes in here.
Is this the first time you had her on a live, Coral?
Yes, we actually, so she first was she came on with Tommy and Jake, and they were kind of like, she had never been on a TikTok platform at all. So they're trying to like monitor the chat and then trying to keep her like only answering certain things. So she didn't get to speak. And that's why I called her out. If y'all saw me in my bathrobe doing the ridiculous Mila call out. And then one of her friends was able to link her, and she said she would feel comfortable. We talked for a little bit, and she said yes. But I'm like, let me just protect you. My mods will be in there to support you and make sure the chat is positive. But I wanted people to understand, because it was really frustrating that people were not, hey, she's a victim. They were not looking at her. They were blaming her. And I was done. I was like, no, we're gonna show your raw emotion, because people need to see that you are a victim.
Right. And this was after obviously her testimony. And then you said in here that you were waiting the sentencing, I think that you said.
Yeah, we were just, it was right before the sentencing time that she had come on.
I want to thank also Jumpsuit Pablo for sharing, because I saw a lot of the kiosk crew coming in and Jumpsuit crew. So shout out to Jumpsuit Pablo, phone calls from prison. You guys are awesome. But I want to continue with this, because this was a riveting interview with Mila. And it was when she was being jumped on. It was like a pile on. Everybody was shitting on her and going at her business. And this is when she was most vulnerable. And this is where it gets really rough, because she starts to talk about the suicide. And I think this is important for us to hear this, because your words and your actions have consequences, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm going to put both of us back on here for a second. I have the suicide hotline link down here right below us and the National Domestic Violence Hotline. But this 988 Suicide Crisis Lifeline, life is worth living, ladies and gentlemen. And bottom line is that your actions and what you say to people being bullies on the internet have caused people to take their lives. And it's no fucking joke. So I say that with a very heavy heart, because I've come to many people's homes that have taken their lives as a professional police officer. And it's just not a good thing to be that. Think about it.
Just to throw it out there too, Ron, we also have a Discord. If anybody uses Discord, it is Coral 2301 period. And that one is what we're doing is creating a 24/7 platform for DV survivors or people that are in crisis. So that way, because we have a huge following all the way across the globe. So there's someone always available that's been through trauma themselves to be able to help. Maybe you just wake up and you have a trigger, you have a bad dream, you're going through something traumatic, and it's a hidden app that you can actually go into and say, hey, I need help, and we'll find you resources. So there's plenty of outreach. I speak so much about this advocating because I've too have been a victim, and I realize that there's not a lot of support for females that go through this trauma. Obviously there's men too, but like there's mostly a lot more females, and we don't have that. We're shutting down shelters. We're not giving these women hope or anything, so they feel stuck. So I don't want anybody to feel that way. There's always hotline numbers. There's the .com. You could go to the Discord.
Yeah. This is why I love you. I'm going to link your Discord in my description so everybody can go over there and join in. Mila's back. Mila?
I'm back. Sorry about that. My life is a train wreck, but I was really interested in the comments. I was like, somebody give me a charger. So
you got a charger?
Yeah, no, I'm good now. I'm logged in. So
all right, good. All right. I don't know where we left off. We were showing the video that you had with Papa Steve the first time you met with Coral on TikTok. So is it okay if we continue to play this? Because this is where you talk about suicide.
Yeah.
I think this is an important, powerful message for people to see. And what I was saying before you just came in is that bullying on the internet and people coming after you testified, and that the pile on, everybody jump on the pile. Let's get on top of Mila and let's kick her while she's down. That mentality caused you in part to get to this place where you were here. And correct me if I'm wrong. I might be doing some assumptions here, but is that not true?
I was very open about it. And like I said, I probably had too many to drink at that point, but it is not untrue. The VA had to put me on a lot of medication because I got very creative in ways that I wanted to unalive myself, and each time unsuccessful. For whatever reason, I guess God still wants me here. So I'm here.
We all want you here, and we don't want you to be successful. Like I said, life is worth living, and the bottom line is alcohol helps to enhance those thoughts, and sometimes it's even worse for you to be drinking when you're vulnerable like that. Being around someone who's sober, who can keep you focused and stay with you and keep you safe is the best bet. Never to be alone. And if you're alone, a phone call is always there. I know, Coral, your line is probably open.
I was sober for 2 years before this re-emerged into this crazy thing. Nobody thought this would be a worldwide thing. Nobody knew I'd get death threats from every freaking country in the world through every different medium. And this has taken on, this in its own way has been more traumatic than surviving him the first time, because now I have to survive the fucking whole world, and I'm pissed and sad, and all my emotions is a roller coaster of what not you guys, those certain people have put me through. So
right, and they continue to put you through it because they're attacking sporadically. You have so many great reviews. I was going to go and show those reviews, but you have some of these bad loads, I like to call them. These are like very, very not emotionally stable people that choose to come and attack someone who did good And just because they are fangirling or they're in love or infatuated with murderers, they want to now come at you because you were what was in the way of justice, and you didn't let that happen. You stood up and you testified and you gave the prosecution what they needed, a part. You were not the full part of it, but you were part of that puzzle to get to the jury, to get them to come in with those guilty verdicts. So kudos to you. Let me play this before you have another 10 minutes to hang out with us, 15 minutes.
I do. I was really curious to see where this was going. So
We just went on, Coral and I were just vibing and talking. So I think it was good. Let's play this because this is now at the part where you start getting a little deep and Papa Steve dips out really quick.
You see Papa Steve comes in like every night. His wife Mel comes in here. It's because we are building a system that focuses on people that have gone through trauma. And girl, I could tell that you've been through some shit. And I want to give you a big hug and I want you to know that you're supported. And I'm tired of it. We're tired of it. We're fighting for you. You know how many times we correct people? Like, no, let's listen to her talk.
Not only should I not been here from the weight of what he almost did to me, I tried to take my life 3 times since then. So these people do not know what they're doing to me.
Oh, Mila, girl, that's deep stuff right there. I knew that you were going to be going through it, and that's why I told everybody we got to rally for her, because I could tell by looking at you that you're holding so much pain and emotion. And that's like, I just want you to know that there are a good group of us. Like, my whole room loves you. Look at that. They're hitting you with the I love you. Like, they love you, girl. Guys, listen.
Coral.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm gonna get out of here because I don't want to talk, but I just wanted to say that to Mila. Mila, listen, keep your head up. Stay with the people that you're around right now. They've got your back, and they're going to protect you and look out for you. And I'm telling you, stay off the stupid comments and just do you. And I promise you, it will get better. This will fade away eventually, but just keep doing what you're doing. And Coral's got my info. She's got my wife's info. If you want it, you can get it. And I hope the best for you 100%. And if you need something, call 100%. Okay.
And I'm so sorry about what you're going through.
No, listen, I get it 100%. Okay. But I'm going to jump out of here and let you guys talk it out. Okay.
Wait, can you say your favorite catchphrase though? Cause I got to hear it now.
Oh, wait a minute. One more thing. All right.
He always says, wait a minute, one more thing. But listen, that was deep. And that really, I did some research and my vision for having you here as a guest. You're part of this family now, Mila, and so is Coral. She became part, unbeknownst to her, she's part of this Crime Time with DutyRon family. So when I saw that, I thought it was so powerful because you, after being so vulnerable and talking about suicide and trying to take your own life, you said to Steve that you were sorry to him. I thought that was just so amazing and that was moving. And I think many people in the chat felt the same way. This was August 22nd of 2024.
Anybody that knows me that has saw that and everything, I drown myself when I get to this level with alcohol because I am the most empathetic person. I feel too much, like my pineal gland, my third eye. I'm a meditator and all these things, and I'm almost like that's why I'm a good massage therapist. Like I have too many feelings, and so I worry about other people more than myself. And anybody that knows me, that's true. And self-harming is where I have to go to, and I have to drown myself with alcohol because these emotions are too deep, and I don't even care about myself sometimes. More times than not, I will sit there and think about Diane's last minutes and Kristine's last minutes. And I absorb those and I ask God, I'm like, why me? Why I would give their life back in 1 second if you took mine. So
It's survivor's guilt, and that is a real thing. And look at this comment, and I hate that it's covering up the screen where you are, but it says from Kelly Neal, this interview has cleared up so many rumors I have heard about Mila. Great job, DutyRon and Coral. Mila is a very strong woman. I think we accomplished what we wanted to accomplish, and we did it by telling the truth, by being forthright and forthcoming to the listening audience here. And you know what, Mila, I've always got your back. If you need anything 24/7, you know you can reach out to me. I always will get back to you. Same thing with Coral. She's got an army of ladies who love to support women. Women supporting women is what we need. We need to stop with this mean nastiness between women. We all have to take
I
care of
keep
each other.
dying down with this whole thing. They're dropping like flies. This latest Jesse thing, I've never seen so many people go on and cry and say, Jesse deceived us and we thought we had a chance with him. That guy's on DP. You guys thought you had a chance with him? Like, it's silly. And I try not to judge, but how desperate, how stupid. Can we just go there for a second? Of these women think that they, I don't understand it, but I mean, where does that go? Not
Yeah.
sure.
Anything, Coral, that we haven't covered, or Mila, that you want to get out? I'll give you guys the floor. Anything, ladies?
I had one more thing because it got cut off before she left, but I wanted to clear the air because you got disconnected. But Tommy, going back to Tommy encouraged you to open up the spa. You dated for 6 years. You guys still held on to a friendship, and he's always been there for you, even currently. And I wanted the people were like, okay, did Tommy ever abuse you? That was a big question because a lot of people wanted to say that he was controlling you, abusing you. Even to this day, he's controlling you. And I want you to clear the air that he has just been a genuine friend.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's been really weird. Like I said, ever since I moved here from Hawaii, I moved here in 2009 to Fort Myers. And I got with this guy named Ray, stayed with him for 3 years and met Tommy that way. Tommy and I were friends that way. I stayed in the same group, got with Tommy for 6 years. Tommy and Lorenzo were in a band together, got with Lorenzo. Like, I just kind of dated the same circle, but no, Tommy never abused me. Tommy and I had a lot of problems, but mostly because, well, okay, that's another thing. He helped me raise my son. When I first got with him, my son was very young. I think 5 or 6 or something. And I'm a workaholic. I always have been. He would iron my son's shirt, get him ready for school, take him to school, have coffee and ready in bed for me, wake me up, send me on my way. Every day that I got home from work, he would have a glass of wine for me and cook dinner. Like, he's such a sweetheart. And no, the fact that he's controlling or not controlling, I don't get with guys that are, how do you say this properly? I don't get with weak ass guys at all. If you don't give me a certain run for my money, I don't find you attractive. I need somebody to be like, this is how it is. But I also wear the pants too. So no, if somebody wasn't slightly trying to control me, I would not be with them.
You know what I think, Mila, even in this experience, okay, just because we've had these conversations and I'm always positively encouraging you, I know that you're meant for a bigger good. Like you said, for some reason, like during that time, if there wasn't people around or whatever the reason was, you lived. You were a surviving victim, and there's no doubt in my mind you wouldn't be here today if it was in a shelter more where there wasn't that many people or the car didn't start rolling. You wouldn't be here today. So I want you to know that. And listen, you're going through your divorce, right? After that, find yourself. Don't let anybody sweet talk you. Put that wall up high and don't settle for less. Not in your friendships, not in your relationships.
So if there's any cute girls out there,
No more men for me.
I gotta reel this back in. I gotta step in. I was leaving it to the ladies, but Judy on to the rescue. Let me reel this back in. Natalie, thank you, Mayette, for that super chat. And she says, "Stay strong, Mila. You are a beautiful human being." Thank you for that. And Mila, you can't probably see the chat, but there is so many wonderful comments.
I wish I could see it. I can't.
Ocean Girl 505 says, "Mila, God has a purpose for you on this earth." So many people just love, and I encourage you, when you have free time, whatever whenever that would be. Hold on a second. Someone says, "At Mila, switching teams, laughing my ass off."
Yep.
Annie says, "You got the chat on fire right now." But yeah, the bottom line is, though, here is that you have a lot of support when you see these small cockroaches that come out and want to spread or spew venom. They're living at the lower part of the sewer and the curb. They're crawling out from these little rocks to spew some hate. And what Papa Steve advice gave you on August 22nd before the sentencing, that was good fucking advice. You have to, as hard as it is, you have to tune out these insignificant, nameless, faceless people who are wanting to spread venom about you, and realize that you are a good person. What you did, you not only served our country in the military, you did the right thing when you were faced with a really difficult situation. You loved Wade at the time. You were with him, and he did a bad thing. And you were a good human being to realize and identify, I cannot harbor a fugitive who just murdered one or two people. So you did the right thing. You did the right thing.
I just wanted to say, if it was just words on a screen, I could ignore it. It's not that. You guys are coming to my spot, asking for my personal information, there to spy on me. I got my tires slashed about a month ago. People are trying to find out. People are contacting my ex-husband. People have found my child. This is not just words on a screen. These bitches have made it a purpose to personally come after me in my everyday life. It's not just on words on a screen.
I would encourage you then to make police reports and file reports, and file as many reports as you have to each and every time your tires get slashed or these things happen. And we'll talk about this, because I was unaware of this stuff. But these are crimes. And if people are doing this, there's ways that I can advise you on putting cameras up and securing your outside the perimeter of your business where you're.
Well, like I said, I went hard really bad on somebody in particular that on a live stream went out and said, go harass Mila Spa, go do this, go do that. And it wasn't until I went hard and fighting back until it stopped. And and now there are people that are offering their services for free to me because they didn't know how bad it was. So I'm really appreciative as well.
Yeah. And I'll always give you advice as it pertains to safety and security. And I'll let you know what legally you can and what you can't do. But I would always say, don't encourage, like sometimes, like I have said in past live streams, go ahead, Jesse, send me a cease and desist. I would like to make a fool of you. I would like to make a fool of you and show what an idiot you are on a public platform. I'm up to, I think, 353,000 subscribers and growing. We have an army of good people here. We have an army of good people, and I am thankful for it. And to open up my platform to you was a given for me. It was like a no-brainer.
If it wasn't for you guys, like I said, everything would be different. As soon as I had a mental breakdown on Carl's Live, I've had more supporters and more people defending me than I've had the hate. And that's what got my soul back. It got my life back. It made me want to live again. It got me back. And so I do believe that there should be an army for victims and survivors of this. And you know, like you say, the kiosk girls and stuff like Papa Steve and Melanie, I talked to them, and they do believe that there's only so many of us that should be given a little bit of protection, because we did not go into this choosing to go after somebody that was accused of murdering 2 people. We kind of got thrown into this when we knew him in real life, and we're just trying to deal with the aftermath at that point. So there should be a certain level of protection for us because of that. We didn't go in and say, I want to hit up a cute guy I saw on the news that murdered 2 people. I didn't do that. You know, what the hell?
Exactly. And you know, that's the crazy part, is that, you know, I've said it so many different times, is no matter how black and white this thing is presented to these people, it doesn't matter. They're still going to say that he's innocent and that they're going to support him. And that's the crazy part. And I always say that these are folks who are not mentally stable. But for you, Mila, I'm so happy that Coral and you guys crossed paths, and this was all through the internet. Right. So the internet has its good parts and it has its bad parts. There's like my grandmother always used to say, you're judged by the company you keep. I kind of keep my community very respectful, and I weed my garden continually. I'm out there fucking pulling weeds every day. When there's somebody toxic that shows their true colors, I get rid of them. And I don't even look back. Because at the age that I'm at, and in the amount of time that I've had on this earth, and the amount of shit that I've gone through with the World Trade Center, getting shot at, getting cancer, fighting this and fighting that, and telling me every day when I go to work, I hope you die, I hope you get shot. You know, I could have given up easily, or I could have killed myself. But I chose not to do that, because I looked at my family, I looked at what was important, and I said, these people are not what's important to me. It's my family, it's the people who love me, and it's the people who support me. And I rallied around them. And I think that's what happened here with you. And Coral, you should be very proud of yourself, because you perhaps had a part in saving Mila's life.
You did. I tell her that all the time. I go, you're my angel. I said I would not be here right now. I would have continued on that deep, dark path if she wouldn't have said, let's rally. We have a team Wade. Where's Team Mila? You know, and she created Team Mila for me and got my life back. And that means the world to me.
Coral?
I appreciate it. That was my whole goal. Is I told you in the very beginning, let's give you your life back. That's the only thing I wanted out of this whole thing, is for people to recognize you and what you've done and who you are. And let's give that back to you, because this isn't you didn't do anything wrong, and they're treating it as you did.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Yes.
You know I love you, girl. I have a lot of love for you.
Yeah.
I love this. I fucking love this. This is awesome. Listen, again, get around Coral, go and subscribe, and what do they call it? Follow? It's not subscribe, right? Go and follow Coral over on TikTok. Mila will be, I'm sure, you know, making appearances here and there. And anytime that Mila, that you want to come back here, if there's something that we didn't cover, something that you want to address, you know that you have a platform.
Well, we better do it soon, because like I told Coral, I'm signing something exclusive soon right now. So
that's fine.
You've got me for a few days if you want me.
Listen, that's all good. So then I'm just saying.
I told her to delete her TikTok and throw the phone out the window.
Yeah. And Ron said the same thing. I'm going to come smash your freaking phone.
I actually told Mila that I was going to get on a plane with my son, go back to Miami, and go straight across Florida with my rental car and throw her phone in the lake.
And you should.
It's funny that we both said that to her.
Well, you got a lot of love and support here, and I want to thank you for spending an hour and freaking 45 minutes, even though you know we had some difficulties. It worked out. Folks in the chat, I want to say thank you to you for being supportive and being kind. The moderators, you guys are second to none, and I actually empowered one of Coral's moderators. So she's in the chat here, Chris. 666. So thank you, Chris. You did a great job here tonight. For all the people who are new, please give this a thumbs up, share it onto your social media platform, put it onto Facebook, put it onto Twitter, put it X or whatever the fuck they call it. Put it out there so people can hear Mila's message and people can get to know the real Mila Montanez. She's a good person. She's a good human being. She did the right thing. And I'm saying this from a professional level, from a law enforcement standpoint. She did the right thing. Papa Steve did the right thing. Your friend Amy did the right thing. And everyone who testified, that guy from the Keys, I keep forgetting his name, but he did the right thing. You know, anybody that comes and testifies in this trial did the right thing. You got to get around these people and support them. But here's what's most important. The victims, right here.
If I would have known that you wouldn't be here anymore, I would have made the moments last. If I would have known that you wouldn't be here anymore, I would have made the moments last. If I would have.
So there you have it, folks. I wanted to just play that as we ended this. On behalf of Crime Time with DutyRon and Ed Wallace, Coral, thank you for being. I added co-host to your title there, just by the way. I don't know if you saw that.
I didn't even notice.
You got going on in the background there? I see a puppy. Is that?
Oh,
Dexter?
yeah, that's Dexter. Say hi to the people.
My puppy too.
Oh, look at that.
Here's Riley. Oh, he's
Oh,
not trying to speak to you right now.
What's his
Ron,
name?
where's
Riley?
your dog at?
Riley?
Here it is.
My
He
dog,
doesn't like attention.
I have a 16-year-old dachshund that's a real grumpy little mother effer right now, but I love him to death. We gave him a bath today, and we found one little flea on him, and my wife's going crazy right now, giving him flea baths and everything right now. Just one little thing. So he was out in the backyard, but Oscar is doing great, and he's a healthy 16 years old, so it's part of the security team. But listen, so I want to say thank you to, first and foremost, Mila. Do you have any final words for the listening audience? Anything you want to say that you might not have gotten out, or final parting words for the folks?
Actually, I can't remember. Coral, did I took notes, but my note taking, it was not bullet pointed.
You covered all the main key parts. And if there's anything else, then we can address that too. Honestly, it's something right now. I feel like all the main things we wanted to cover got covered because people had that was the consensus of what everybody was saying, you know?
Yeah, we hit on a lot. And if there's any more, you just let us know and I'll put it back out there. So many new members. Tara, thank you for gifting a membership. Mila.
Oh, wait, there was one thing. I'm so sorry. I'm looking at my notes. You wanted me to address the thing of the interrogation where I said Kristine Melton, and they thought that I knew Kristine Melton, and that linked them into saying this conspiracy theory. That was one of our main topics that you hear all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, when you have an iPhone, it says maybe this person, it says their full name if it's registered or a link to their name or whatever. And also at Kelly and on the phone with Josh Mateo and Tommy Williams and Papa Steve, and they were all sharing this information about what possibly he did while they're setting him up for the arrest for the marshals and stuff. But somehow that was linked in, the fact that I knew her name and the fact that people kept saying, you know more information than the freaking detectives do. But it was self-explanatory the whole time with my caller ID, with the privy information on my messages that the cop is reading right along with me in real time as these messages are coming in. So I wasn't privy to any information before, and I did. Like, people are trying to accuse me of being a part of this crime ring and this and that. And like I keep telling people, anybody that knows me, I went from being a dumb blonde overnight to a madam of this huge crime organization that walks around and sets weight up for killing people. That,
And just to talk on that one part, just to go back because you didn't mention it, the reason why people thought that, guys, is because Wade stole Kristine Melton's phone and was blowing Mila up after he had already killed her. He took that phone and he was blowing Mila up, so it said Kristine Melton, and he had all these calls, voicemails of him spewing hate, saying what he was going to do on his way to see her. And they had all this documentation prior to him even trying to kill her. So it was when they were like, why does she have that number? Why does she have her name? because it was on the caller ID that he was calling from.
Yeah, this is the interview that they're talking about. That you were, talking to the detective, and then towards the end here is when you start looking at your phone, and then you had mentioned Kristine's name. But the bottom line is people will misconstrue things, and they'll draw their own conclusions without the facts. And that's what I like about Mila being transparent here, is that you're going to get the facts here. She's got no reason to lie. There was also controversy about your car and about you not knowing the color of it, and that, why weren't you scared that Wade was now, I don't think, in custody at this time. Why were you in such a rush to leave? You were there for hours, and you spent.
Oh my gosh, I feel like I was there for 3 to 4 hours, maybe longer, and I was cold and hungry and all these things. So, I mean, people did not put themselves in my shoes at all. And nobody wants to be there. Yes, I do want to help the detectives, and I want to get to the bottom of this, but also this is also very freaking traumatic and uncomfortable. And I went through the ringer, and and then now it's blasted for the world to see. So
can I say something about this interview, Mila? Because I've conducted many interview and interrogations like this. And I want to just say one of my first takeaways, and I did a reaction video to this. I'll link it here in the description. You can go watch my reactions to every bit of this. When I saw this and I watched it the first time, I said to myself, this girl has nothing to do with anything that happened in this crime. And the reason I said it is because you were so forthcoming with, here, take my phone. The only thing that you wanted to know is when am I going to get it back? Because it runs the business. It's my heartbeat of my business. I understood that. And I didn't take it from a detective standpoint that you were trying to be evasive, because you were willing, hey, take it, but could you get it back to me as soon as possible? Because I need it. Download it all. But I might have some nudes on there. You were a little embarrassed about that. And, like stuff like that. And that's just human nature.
It took my phone for over 2 months. My car was about 6 weeks. It was a huge inconvenience, but well worth it. And I will take that ass beating any day of the week to put him back in jail and let them take my car and my phone. But also, rightfully so. Who would want to have their phone gone for 2 months? Nobody,
No. Especially when you use it for your business, and people don't, people right away just put the blinders on and say, oh, well, what the hell is that? But you gave everything up. You didn't ask them to get search warrants. A lot of times people will say, this is my private property. You get a search warrant. And that's when our radars go up and the red flags go up. And we're like, wait a minute, she's trying to hide something. And you weren't trying to hide anything here. You're being pretty straightforward and very straightforward and very
DNA and everything. There, can we get your DNA? Can we get your phone? Can we get your car? And I said yes to everything right away. No, without hesitation. So
yeah, and this is like right after he tells you that she's dead. And I want to show this reaction.
Unfortunately, I am going to seize the phone for now. Okay. We are going to need it. Is there a code to get into it?
There's nothing I can get in trouble for, right?
You didn't do anything.
You went on to say you watched too many CSI shows, and I laughed my ass off when I heard that.
Okay. No, I mean, like
she's like watching too much fucking Perry Mason.
Naked pictures. You like naked pictures. Okay. The password is when you click on down here. It's usually my thumb. You might want to. How do you get it back? Okay. Try to cancel it out. And
they're gonna have to do a search warrant on it. Okay. And once they download it, we'll definitely give you a call. That's why I wanted to know if there was another
how
phone.
long though?
A day or two.
That's my business. Right
and it wasn't a day or two.
I know. But I'm gonna be straight up and honest with you. We do have a body.
What does he tell her about
the thing?
Oh my gosh!
So
stop it!
This is a homicide.
Are you really serious? Is it that girl?
We don't know. We don't know. So we do need to take the phone.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. So just stand by for a second. Okay. I'll be right.
This is the bomb was dropped on you here. You were just like, oh shit, right?
Yeah, obviously, I kind of was reading on my phone, and everybody said he's saying he did this and he did that, but of course we're like, is he storytelling and all that stuff? It wasn't until somebody can actually say we have a body until you actually like it hits you, and it hit me like a ton of bricks. I'm like, oh my God, really? This is just unbelievable. Just, and people even went on to say she was smiling when that
It
happened. And
looked
I
like
don't
you were
think,
holding back tears. It looked like you were holding back breaking down and crying here.
yeah. And then people, he linked having nudes on my phone to, like, he was like, oh, she was texting customers and stuff. No, me and Wade had just, uh, he had just gotten out of jail, and we were having fun with our phone, if you know what I mean.
Oh yeah, I know what you mean. You don't have to say anymore.
Yeah.
100%. And but you're an adult. You know, at this time, you're at this point. It's 2019. You're 35 years old. Everybody knows it. It's not a secret. I know it's not great to
Yeah.
talk about ages with women. I'm sorry, my wife's going to tell me about that too. But so you were 35 years old. You were a grown adult here, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's just people just don't. People just can't. They can't come to terms with that. Okay, she's a normal person, and they want to make more of it, and that's the problem. Here's another question, if you don't mind. Were they telling that he had killed? Okay, at DutyRon, didn't Wade tell Mila that he had killed other people before these murders? Kelly B 750 says. I want you to elaborate on. I know the answer to this. Do you want to address that or no?
I can. If you watch the interrogation, I said he had said certain things, and I can elaborate on it. But I just thought he was really being a stupid man. Like, even watching it back is bringing back some memories, because you do have to understand this is 5 years ago, so it's
Right.
kind of coming back to me the more I watch it. Yeah, he would say crazy things, and he would say somebody wanted them to kill their wife. He took 35K for it. He didn't do it. He had to move because he thought they were going to hurt his family. This was in Tallahassee. He also said he cut somebody, like I said, from the cavity, threw them in lake or ocean. I can't remember. Like I said, 5 years ago, and also let the sharks or fish or whatever devour them. No body, no crime. That's another thing he said. And he would make up weird stories. Like, I won't mention her name in particular, but it's one of his exes that he said was on a killing spree with him, and that they had this guy tied up in the back of the trunk. By the time they had released him, his hands were like dead. No, no blood, totally black or blue or whatever the color is, because I can't really say, because I've never done that before. But
Yeah.
And he said he also made her participate in doing something to implicate her as well, to
Right.
make sure she would not do anything. And even like, Papa Steve never told me any of these stories, but it made sense to me when Papa Steve would say he's a very good storyteller. He says all this stuff. Even when he's being arrested, I didn't see all of it, but on the body cam footage, when they're like, I can loosen your handcuffs, but you have to be on your best behavior or something like that, or I'm going to slam you on your face. And
Right.
he even came back and said, you're going to slam me on my face? You know, if it was you and I, you would be slammed in your face. I'm highly trained
Trained. Yeah.
and all this stuff. He's not highly trained at all. He sucks at fighting.
He's full of shit. He's highly trained at bullshit. Is what he's highly trained.
He's not highly
So he's
trained.
a storyteller. He said these things to you, like, I've killed people, to try to make himself as a 25-year-old seem as like a badass.
Yeah.
And you
He'd
just
take
grew
it
up-
over drinks and stuff. Like, we wouldn't just be sitting down and having morning coffee and he would say these things. You know what I mean?
Look at this comment. Look at this comment, Mila. His own dad didn't believe his bullshit, his stories.
Exactly. That's how much of a storyteller he was. And because Wade is charming and charismatic and funny and cute and all these things, sometimes you overlook some of his bullshit, because you're like, whatever. But
Yeah.
so what? You're a storyteller, but
All
so-
right. I promised an hour and a half, and we're at 2 hours. So let's wrap it up. And I want to, again, for the third time, I want to thank you for being here, for being honest, for being open, and being available to our community. Crime Time with DutyRon has some of the best community folks, men and women who have respect for the victims and their families. And you happen to be a victim here in this case. We respect the Melton and the Ruiz family, and we also support them in any of their endeavors. And we have the GoFundMe for Diane Ruiz's sons that's still active. It's here, linked in the description. I'll link it into my website as well eventually. I think I'll do it this weekend. But Coral, you have it on your TikTok, and we want to support. Let's get that fund up to 150,000 for those boys, instead of this bullshit of the money going to this other despicable fund. I won't even mention it here. So again, thank you, Mila. I hope you have a good rest of your evening.
Thank you.
I
love you both.
Yeah, you're awesome, and what you did here tonight, I think, was a good thing. So again, Coral, thank you for facilitating this a bit, talking with Mila, and thank you both for being here. So on behalf of Crime Time with DutyRon, I'll say good night to everybody, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace and love, and we'll talk soon. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.